Let's talk about how you find yourself alone. Because the reality is, at some point, you do realize it's just you. And naturally, the movie style theme wrapped around loneliness, around finding the dark, would emotionally have you surmise that when left alone, when left in the dark, when in solitude, there's only one way out. And so you'll find your way out because who wouldn't? It's a natural emotional instinct. And I believe in you. I believe in everybody that when left alone, when pushed down into the dark, when there's no other option, when you do finally realize that it's just you, you'll make all the right moves. You'll show a level of perseverance. You'll show a level of grit and fight that will ensure that you don't stay shunned, that you don't stay held down, and that you make it out the dark. Here's the problem with that: the reality to life, to how life is lived by us, the majority of us, and how it's presented to us today is that you will never be forcefully pushed into the dark. Most of us won't realize how lonely we are. Most of us won't realize we have no other options. That's not the way it is. Look around you. Look around you at the level of comfort that is created by a supreme amount of abundance that is so abundantly so that you dismiss it, that you don't even you're not even phased by it. Life is just great that way. For as difficult as it is for the majority of us, especially if you're like me, it is just grand. What don't you have? What don't you have right now that you need? I'm not asking about wants. What don't you have that you need? And the answer for most of us is that we don't need for nothing. Henceforth, we remain in the dark in an involuntary way. And then some of us wake up. Some of us get shaken from our dream. Some of us start to realize that there is something else we feel like we need. And so we voluntarily find the dark. And there's some real life difficulty down there that I want to express and share today in the hopes that you want to find your darkness, that you want to find your aloneness, that you want to ghost and you know that that's the only way to ascend. However you want to ascend, however you define ascension. And the reality to that level of darkness, voluntary darkness, going away and tucking in and not conforming, right? I talk about it regularly. What they say is the cowardice of man today is conformity. Not conforming, not being the statistic, and not just in a traditional statistic way, but I feel like statistically more we allow ourselves to drift into comfort and conformity. However that's defined, ironically and I guess somewhat paradoxically, comfort could be like some of us are comfortably poor and very few of us are comfortably rich and define that in many ways. But back to the darkness, what it breeds and why it is immensely powerful and downright unfathomably scary. It is that when you make this decision, when you actually start to go dark, when you find your solitude, there's a reality to your existence becomes very much predictable in the same way it is now, except you're not as conscious today as you will be when you go dark. Because that's the first reality of darkness. After the euphoria of I'm trying something new, after the dopamine rush, after you tell all your friends about what you're gonna do about going dark, which means you're not really that dark, and all that excitement wears off, and it really is just dark, there's a truth in there that you've yet to discover, that we've yet to discover, that manifests itself emotionally and and sticks you deeper and deeper and deeper into the dark and into a corner. And the further you go, the further you'll start to realize that the only way out is to continue to do what you've been doing that got you there. And that's not as easy as it sounds, because what I find, what I found, and what you might find is that darkness is you deciding to have full autonomy, full authority, and full control over how you live, except that you went into dark in an uncontrolled way, and therefore everything you're looking to control by controlling yourself is not easily flipped in your control. Let me explain. Comfort has provided us at a high level a safety, right? It has provided us a way to manage ourselves. We get by getting by however we get by. When you pivot from that and you decide to find darkness because you want to ascend again, as I referenced earlier, everything that's just getting you by doesn't go away. So essentially, it's almost like you're turning your back on everything that has made you you to this point. And that has a massive social impact and has massively socially inclined people, in that a lot of us seek acceptance through social standards and norms and social comfort. You're now you're now opposite of that mode, but it's still all around you. It's still all encompassing. So imagine that you have decided that everything that is around you today, which is socially accepted by everyone around you today, in all forms of social acceptance, you now decide you want to deviate and go the opposite of. You go into total pitch black darkness, and everyone and everything around you now is sort of questioning, where are you and what are you doing? And in this time that you're making this about face, you're doing this 180, and you're turning your back to everything that made you comfortable. You are now enlisting, and you are now subscribing to and accepting of all the pain that comes with making that pivot. And the pain associated with that, what you will find, what we will find as we go down there, is on all levels. You start to wake up and repeat a process. This is where discipline and will and integrity starts to come in. You know you don't want any of that old comfort. You want a new level of comfort. The only way to new comfort is through massive discomfort. And that discomfort is not just physical. Even if you're on a physical endeavor, I need to go and change my body and change my health, because without health, I won't live. And if I'm not living, then nothing else matters. There's certainly that. And maybe you're on that endeavor. It's going to physically hurt. You're going to wake up days and be sore from all the pain that you administered throughout your body the day before and the day before and the day before and the day before. Now, if you scale that out to any and all endeavors that you are on, you might be on a spiritual journey. I talk about this all the time. There's only but so many things we can do. You might be on an intellectual journey. You might be going through a massive overhaul to essentially raise your character level. And how do you want to raise your character levels? If you were at zero in any one of the physical, mental, spiritual, or emotional realms, then certainly you want to start to establish a routine that increases your character traits. Otherwise, why do this? Otherwise, why do this? And your intention for increasing your character traits in any one and any and all levels is because you want to ascend forward in some capacity, because whatever's making you comfortable today, you know is not going to make you comfortable tomorrow. And the only way to be comfortable tomorrow and the way you want to be comfortable is to be uncomfortable with where you are today. And that process of transitioning is super painful. Super painful. Let me continue to explain what this does, but provide solace in that it's required, it's necessary, and you can feel comfortable that your discomfort is pushing you forward in some direction. Naturally, naturally, as I referenced earlier, and I'll touch on briefly again, the comfort provided by the abundance of our world today, people talk about the immediacy, instant gratification. The reality to it is this: comfort is established by you being rewarded with your current lifestyle. And the instantaneousness of life, in all the way that life is instantaneous, and all the things we do to make it really, really easy, is what is a reward. It's a reward of comfort. That just is what it is. And so when left in that immediacy and instantaneousness of everything that is awarded to you through a reward right away, it's awfully hard to break through from that. Why? Because now the discomfort is, I got to do everything I can to delay all the rewards I seek. Why? Because any life of comfort in a way that is opposite of the comfort you feel today, that is uncomfortable, takes time. It takes a lot of time. And the reality to that time, the distance between what it's going to take you when you start it and what it's going to take you when you finish, is undeterminable. And because of that, you're now up against, I don't know when I'm going to get to the end of this super dope, awesome, phenomenal life I want, and the instantaneous of just being awarded and rewarded today by being socially accepted with everything we do. It's that simple and plain. Now, going back to the darkness and the experience, and a lot of it is emotional and manifests itself in physical, mental, and all other capacities of pain. In that, as you repeat the disciplined process of becoming whoever you want to become, and you start to question, what exactly is it I'm doing? You're going to seek rewards. It's natural. We all need to be rewarded because we should be incentivized. Otherwise, why would you take the journey? Why would you go on this path of darkness? Certainly, you want to at some point see the light, and therein lies the comfort. In that every day you wake up, you know, I'm going to be physically tired. I'm going to be physically in pain. I'm going to be emotionally in pain. I'm going to be mentally, like, I could feel my thoughts hurt some days. Think about that. The thought of me having thoughts hurts. The thought of me having to put in the work physically, naturally, hurts. But the idea and concept of the full evolution and process of ascension of me in all phases hurts just thinking about it. And the idea that I can now see every single day, I know exactly how my day is going to go. And you know how your day is going to go too. You just kind of ignore it. That's part of the comfort. But I know that my day is going to be painfully uncomfortable because I believe something else is on the other side. But I can't see the other side. I don't know when I'll get to the other side. So how do I reward myself? I just have to know that I'm doing whatever it takes to do that someone else is not doing. That the pain that I'm feeling is obvious for my growth. That through all pain, it's natural to see a growth. That through all darkness, it's natural to feel like when a seed gets planted, it's into the ground, into the dirt. And all the pain and suffering I'm going through is the watering, is the light, is the darkness. It is the routine of the consistency to know that if I keep repeating this very same process of pain every day, eventually I got to sprout out. Eventually, the life that I see that I'm moving towards because I'm going into this darkness, and I won't stop until I see the light, and I won't stop going in the same direction I know I need to go, is because eventually I'll see what I want to see, which then gives you the realization of this. I already see everything I want to see, in that when I reach the light, nothing changes in my performance. You can't expect the acceptance of new rewards. You can't expect the acceptance of new richness. You can't expect the acceptance of the life you see without having the fabric, without having the roots, without having the process in place to not just be accepting of that life, but continue to be that life. And that's the reality of all the pain, that the acceptance of this darkness to emerge into the light is that once I reach and I show myself into the light, I would already have attained that life. Because every day, I am about that life. Nothing changes. It just hurts a lot. So try the dark out. Stay there. Stay there until you know you're supposed to come out. Change your mind, change your life. I am who I say I am. Do you and stay rich.